please, I would like to introduce our first speaker this morning. Please give a round of welcome to Ms. Chandra.
Karen, this button. Push that button. It's on. Wait till the red light goes up and you'll be on. There you go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Everybody can hear me okay? When I got here this morning, the women at the front desk asked me if I was going to keep you awake, if I had the ability to wake you up. So I hope I'll be able to do that. As Karen told you, for the last 5 years, I was on NBC on daytime, and I did a series called Reality Check. And every week, I would take live viewer call-ins. And regardless of the problem, the dynamic always seemed the same. Whether it was an emotionally abusive relationship, whether it was being in debt, whether it was wanting to change your job, whether it was not liking whatever situation you were in. When people feel stuck, they pretty much feel the same. And being stuck means that you keep doing the same things again and again, and you don't get different results. So when you feel stuck, what happens is that you end up feeling victimized. Lots of times people come to me and they ask me, why did this happen to me? And what I tell them is, because what happened to me didn't happen to you. We all have our stuff, and nobody's stuff is any better or worse than anybody else's stuff. It's just our stuff. Lots of times when stuff happens to us, we don't understand why. If I hit you and you hit me, you immediately know why you got hit. But lots of times things just happen and we don't understand why this is in our life. My feeling once again is, if it happened to you, it belongs to you. If it's in your life, it belongs to you. And that's why it's very, very important to take 100% responsibility for whatever is happening in your life at this minute. You can't take 50, you can't take 90. And the reason why we have to take 100% is because when you take 100% responsibility for whatever it is at this moment, at the exact same moment, simultaneously, you take back your power. The same way that you created what is happening right now is the same way that you instinctually know that you can create something new going forward. So how do we change what doesn't work? The quickest way I know is to change what you think and what you feel. You have the ability, each one of us has the ability to change what we think and what we feel, and in the process, those thoughts and those feelings send out an energy that creates our life. You create your world moment by moment by what you think and what you feel. For example, this morning, when all of you got up, I'm sure you were looking in the mirror, putting on your mascara, putting on your lipstick. If you look in the mirror and your lipstick is not on correctly, you don't go to the mirror and apply lipstick, do you? Why? The mirror is a reflection. And that's what your life is. Your life is a reflection. We mistakenly think that the physical world is what creates our reality. That's not true. We create our reality, we create our world from the inside out. I want to talk to you for a minute about quantum physics. People get scared when we talk about that, but all that means is that there are certain universal laws that govern the universe, and those laws remain the same no matter what. For example, if I drop my glasses and I let go of them, is there any way that these glasses are going to go up? Why? Gravity. Gravity is one of the universal laws of the universe. The father of space travel, Wernher von Braun, said that the laws of the universe are so precise that they can figure out the exact moment that the shuttle hits the Earth. Another law of the universe that always works is the law of attraction. And I'm sure by this time all of you have heard of The Secret. Maybe a lot of you have been doing this stuff before you even knew there was even a secret. But Oprah's done 2 shows on it. It's out and about. It's not as simple as you think. It works, but there's a subtlety to making it work. In simple terms, we attract to us what we think, what we feel. In other words, we attract to us a match for our vibration. As we enter a room, our energy goes out before us. And the same way that you can feel someone else's energy is the same way that they can feel yours as well. Your attraction meter is your feelings. Your inner voice speaks to you through your feelings. It says keep going when you feel positive, and your feelings are aligned with what you want. And when you are negative and your feelings are not aligned what you want, your inner voice says stop, caution. The law of attraction is like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together. What you are seeking is seeking you. Whatever you want wants you. What you sow, you reap. What you put out, you get back. What goes around comes around. I'm sure all of you know who Albert Einstein is. He's the father of physics. His formula, E equals mc squared, basically means that the world is made up of energy. This means that everything is in motion. Everything is moving all the time. When you look at your hand appears solid, but it's really not solid. It's a bunch of molecules that are just moving at a slower rate of speed than your thought. So it appears solid in this physical world. But everything in the universe is moving at every moment. The law of attraction says that you will attract to you a match for your energy, a match for your vibration. If you're always thinking negative thoughts, your vibration will be negative and you will find a lot of negativity in your life. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. The same is true for positive thoughts. It is only thought that permeates all time and space. Your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings set up an energy frequency that go out into the universe and find a match for that frequency. Even in the Bible it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So the first step to understanding the law of attraction, and those of you who have read The Secret, this is just Chandra's way of interpreting all of this stuff. So the first thing is to ask. You have to ask for what you want. Several years ago, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And there were things that I wanted to change that weren't changing. And I have a very good friend, and she said to me, you know how you get what you want? This was way before The Secret and any of that. So I said, well, let me hear what she has to say. You know what she said? You ask. I thought, what a great idea that is. That is terrific. So how do you go about doing that? Do you remember when you were little? Genie would pop out of a bottle. It was Aladdin. Your wish is my command. How many of you go into a restaurant and place an order? You may have, I want the steak, medium rare. I want the French fries well done. You know exactly what you want. And if you don't get it, you send it back till you get what you want. That's what the world is like. Put in your order. It's like going into a restaurant and putting in your order for what you want and not taking anything else. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Don't focus on what you don't want. The universe is extremely literal. So sometimes it helps to write it out on a piece of paper in present tense. Instead of saying, I hope one day to have a good relationship, or I don't want to be in an abusive relationship. The energy that you're sending out is bad relationship energy. Say instead, I deserve to be in a healthy, loving relationship with a partner who loves me unconditionally. If you're in debt, instead of saying, I really need to get out of debt, or help me to not have to have all these unpaid bills, say instead, I am financially independent and I deserve it. Say what you want in present tense as though you already have it. What you need to do is you need to do the big as if. You know, we do the big as if lots of times. Now we can make an as if work for us. Feel it inside as though you already have it. Remember, we create from the inside out. As I said before, most of us mistakenly feel that what is out there is what defines our world. That how we feel is based on our physical reality. Once again, that is not correct. We create from the inside out. The world is simply a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Once we realize how this law of attraction works, we need to be extremely vigilant to bring to light all the underlying feelings that are still in darkness. What is in darkness always comes to light. So sooner or later, up come the demons. So if you're looking at your life and you're saying, this is what I want, this is what I'm putting out, but you look at what you've created and that is not a match for that, what you need to understand is that the universe creates based on the subtext. Is everybody with me? The subtext is all the stuff that hasn't yet been brought to consciousness. What needs to happen? As I told you before, whatever is in darkness always comes to light. My suggestion, the things that scare you, don't keep pushing that stuff away. You need to invite the demons in because they're coming in anyway. You need to feel it. You need to work through it because you don't want those little guys underneath determining what your life is like. You need to have power over that. So the first step is to ask. And then the next thing that happens is the universe answers. This takes time. Just doesn't happen all at once. Your job, our job, is to put in the right ingredients and not mess with the outcome. Messing with the outcome is really, really what you don't want to do. The universe has a way of putting this stuff together in a way that you can never imagine. We can only go to the four corners of our mind to figure out what goes here and what goes there. But when you put in the right ingredients, the universe has the opportunity to bring you something that is beyond your wildest dreams or imagination. How many of you have ended up with stuff sometimes that you said, this is better than I could have imagined. How did this happen? This happens when you put in the right ingredients and then you step back. Don't manipulate the outcome. It's very That's one of the subtleties here, is that if you put in the ingredients and you say that this is what you want, if you go out there and try to mess with that, you don't allow this to unfold in a way that really has your best interests at heart. This takes time. Our life is like a big jet plane. What happens is that when a jet plane goes in one direction, there's a lot of propulsion behind that jet plane. And that's because we've been doing stuff a certain way for a long time, and all of a sudden our life has sort of an automatic way it's going, and guess what? We don't want it to go that way. So how do you begin to turn that around? You have to put in new ingredients. You have to put new stuff into the hopper, so that eventually when that plane does turn around, because a jet plane goes around like this and it comes all the way back, eventually when it does turn around, it has as much propulsion going in the new direction as it had in the old. The important thing to remember also is about time. How many times do we hear it said, let some time pass, things will get better? That's not necessarily true. Things don't naturally get better over time. Time is totally neutral. It has no inherent good or bad qualities to it. It's simply the neutral backdrop by which we live our lives. Things that are good usually get better over time, and things that are bad and don't work for us often get worse. So it's about us. It's not about time. So in terms of allowing the universe to answer, what you have to remember is, in Sanskrit they have a term that says, when you plant a seed, fruit falls from the tree. It's a universal law. When you put in the right ingredients, at some point, with enough energy behind these ingredients, at some point they manifest on the physical plane. The physical plane is the last place you're going to see them because it's the densest. You know, sometimes when we begin, we become very impatient. But if you get in a car and you drive from Florida to California, it's 3,000 miles. We make it there, even though the headlights are only 200 feet in front of the car. Little bit at a time, you do what you can with what you have. The next thing we need to do is we need to be open to receiving. You now have to bring yourself into alignment with what you're asking for. Remember, the way you feel is everything. If you can't feel joy, you cannot bring joy into your life. You can't want love if you're not love. Sometimes when we don't feel good and we try to do everything we can to turn it around, one of the things that works more than anything else is to remember what you're grateful for. When you remember what you're grateful for, your vibration immediately changes. If you think for 1 minute what gives you joy, whether it's a pet, whether it's a supportive parent, whether it's a good friend, whether it's work you like, whether it's a nice place you live, what are you grateful for? When you think of what you're grateful for, the moment that that happens is your entire feeling changes. The difference is between something that's hard, that's somewhat contracted, to something that's soft. The minute something is soft, something in you opens up. And at that moment, you're able to send and receive. So how do we begin this process of change? One of the things I talk about all the time, and Karen left these books up here, In Reality Works, if you're bored with your story, it's time to change, is the first chapter here. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but if I were to just come, I wanted to just come here today and tell you the fastest way to begin to make a change. Stop telling your story. Whatever that story is. Whatever that story is that makes you think that you're your story is what keeps you as a victim and doesn't allow you to create the world that you want. Here's the news, guys. No one really is interested in your story. You know, I don't mean to make you feel bad or anything, but, you know, nobody really cares. Your friends and family think that that's what they're supposed to do. Your girlfriend on the other end of the phone is rearranging her shoes and cleaning out her underwear drawer while you're talking over here. We think that we're being good friends by listening to someone else's story. I think we need to listen once, and then I think as a friend we need to be able to say to someone sitting across from us, you know what? I'm really here for you. I really care for you. But I have decided that I'm not going to keep repeating my story because, see, the more you tell your story, the more you believe it. The more hardwired this nonsense becomes. We can change anything in a moment. Talking drains your power. Talking about this stuff drains your power. The only reason we keep calling someone again and again is to get consensus for our point of view. The best friend we could have would be someone who tells us, shh, stop, zip it, change what doesn't work. So the more you tell your story, the more you become a victim and the more you're drained of that power. The key is to really get bored with your story. You need to be like totally over it so that when you hear yourself saying, you're like, oh, I can't say it one more time. I just can't. When you let go of your story, you step into the present moment. At that exact moment, you step into the present moment and you become real. It is only from that place of authenticity, from that place of realness, that the secret works. Is everybody with me here? It is only in the present moment, devoid of your story, open, that we have any opportunity to create the life that we want. We all get to be victim for a day, but constant rehashing is what keeps us stuck. The more you talk about something that doesn't work, the more energy you give to it. And energy then goes out into the universe and finds a match for what doesn't work for you. Be aware of what you're thinking. You can change your life simply by changing your thoughts and changing your feelings. I want to leave you today with a story of two little dogs that heard that at the top of the hill there was this great house of mirrors that they wanted to go see. The first dog was really having a bad day. He was like totally addicted to his story. And he climbed up the hill and he thought, you know what? It's not working for me. I don't like my job. I don't like my boss. You know, the reason that I'm not successful is because they're doing this to me and I don't like the mate I'm with and I really need to get out of it and I can't. And he came to the door of the house and he opened the door and there was the house of 1,000 mirrors and he growled and 1,000 dogs growled back at him. I knew this wasn't a good neighborhood. I'm not living here, he said. And dog number 2 who said, you know what? What a good life I have. Okay, I want to make a few changes, but you know what? I like my friends. I have a great godchild. I like to cook in my kitchen. I have a nice car. Dog went to the top of the hill, opened the door, smiled, and 1,000 dogs smiled back at him, and he said, what a great life. What a great place to live. You all, you need to be dog number 2. the dog that smiles. I want to thank all of you for having me here this morning. I have a table over there. I send out a daily email, and I've been doing that for about the last 5 years. If any of you are interested, you can go to my website, which is coachgirl.com. Sign up. I also have a blog, books, CDs. Thank you so much for having me, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Oh, don't?
Wasn't that a wonderful kick in the butt, getting started? I think
Did I wake you up?
Did you wake you up? I have to tell you something personal, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but I actually was in counseling quite a few years ago, about 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And the reason being was exactly what Chandra said. I was sick of hearing the same tapes. I had a horrible relationship with some people in my family, and all I could hear was them saying, you know, you're not good enough here, this or that, or whatever, and I kept hearing that over and over, and I was tired of it. And I said, enough, and I need to move on with my life. And I ended up getting some counseling, and I stopped hearing those tapes. Every once in a while, they want to creep in when I want to feel sorry for myself. But I try to really smush them down, and so what you had, that's a very good message for all of us in business. And on behalf of EWomansNetwork, I want to say thank you so much for being my friend.
You're welcome.
For being a support person, for supporting EWomansNetwork, and I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So
That's
you,
very
Chandra.
sweet. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You guys are getting to know more about me than you want to know. The next person I have the distinct pleasure of introducing right now,
I wrote down my change.
is a gentleman.
Thank you. I'm thinking maybe I'll stay and listen to him. I can have maybe I'll have a cup of coffee. Is there coffee? Oh, how sweet.
Is actually a very, very good friend of EWomansNetwork.
Pretty.
He has referred women to us, and he knows that they need us to need them. People, he is a great friend when I would call him about something off of, when I need a speaker, or hey,
Cup of coffee.
everybody's a good woman who can do such and such.